We are live. See right there, it says you are live.
We are live.
So, hello everybody.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on? I'm going to do a couple of real quick things on my channel just so we can follow along, follow all the comments and everything else. If I can find my channel on my computer. So, let's see. It's not showing up yet. Hey guys, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm teaching them stuff.
Oh, Ryan thinks he's teaching me stuff.
Gene has me around for fresh ideas.
That's right. That's right. I guess it's not going to show up on my YouTube channel for me.
Hey, fish finder for the kayak, the dragonfly?
Dragonfly is a good one. The thing for me is I don't want, the one I'm going to choose is probably going to be a 7-inch screen. I don't even know what brand or anything else yet. So, but I'm trying to get my YouTube stuff to work real quick.
This time of year, some good baits. Really jig, jerk bait, suspending jerk bait.
Yep.
Alabama rig.
Yep.
I'm just answering some stuff while you're...
Well, there's been some questions popped up as to why the heck Ryan is all of a sudden on my videos. So we're going to let him answer that, and we'll both answer it. But I got to get my iPad all situated.
Okay. So, me and Gene, like we had said in the last video, he has known me since I was 13. It's been, I just turned 27, so it's been 13, 14 years now. So anyway, when Gene's channel first began, where do I need to look? Here?
Yeah, there's the
Okay,
little... yeah.
when Gene first started this, we actually filmed some of the first videos together, and then I went off and did my own thing. Me and Gene live 2.5 hours away from each other. So anyway, now that we're living a lot closer to each other, we'd had some ideas that we've been talking about for a while, either to work together on this channel or to branch off and do my own thing. I kind of got my start with fishing from the bank, because I got into fishing when I was about 11 years old. So bank fishing was really all I had. My dad was a saltwater guy, so bass boat wasn't around for my family or anything. So anyway, I'm the bank guy. My personal best is 14 pounds. It was caught off the bank. I've got a couple other double-digit fish off the bank. So anyway, what I'm doing is I'm going to be making a separate channel that is entirely for guys that are on the bank and just fishing small water. I might do some stuff that's out of a little 10-foot, those bass pelicans, bass raider, whatever they're called. And also I'm going to be helping Gene on some of his videos with his channel, and as well as the review channel. So you'll see me on the Flukemaster channel, you'll see me on the review channel, but you'll see me and then Gene, and also his his oldest and his second oldest son will be doing some videos with me on the bank fishing channel. So that video is going to be launched the next month.
Yep, within the next few weeks.
Yeah. So all the comments that we read all the time about what's the best bait, what's the best baits for pond fishing, bank fishing, I'm going to address all of that. I got years and years and years of experience. I'm still stuck on the bank. If I don't have Gene take, I don't have a boat. So if Gene isn't taking me out, or I'm not out with one of my buddies, I'm fishing from the bank. So I'm a bank rat. And I'm going to be trying to give as much knowledge as I can to you guys about how to fish on the bank. So that's what we're going to do, and so you'll be seeing me around a lot. Anything else you want to add to that?
We just launched the first video in a long time. Let me scoot up here so you don't just see the top of my head. But anyway, on our review channel, the Flukemaster review channel, something we're really excited about. You guys head over there. I'm doing giveaways on just about everything I do a review of. The very first one today was the Creed GT spinning reel, the new 1.3 Creed. We're going to do giveaways for, like I said, just about everything: rods, reels, tackle, and we're pretty excited about it. But it's something we've been wanting to do for a long time. Pretty much just blow it up. Do as many of the reviews of the new products, new everything over the next, well, forever, really. So it's what that channel was there originally for. I kind of let it go last year, and it's time to get it going again.
All right, so with that being said, we said we are going to do a Q&A. So the comments are kind of racing by. So we're going to try and I'm going to try and Gene's dyslexic, so he's not too good at reading.
I don't read fast enough.
So I'm going to try to be, reading these and stuff, that I can pick up. We'll answer. So fire away.
Yep. What brand jerkbaits suspend the best? Landon asks.
They're all pretty good.
Yeah, it all depends on the water temperature, really. The higher the water temperature, the more they're going to float. So for me, I just buy a bunch of them. I have anything from the Smithwicks to the Lucky Crafts to the new KVD 300. You just caught an 8. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up while you're talking about it.
Yeah, most of the hard bait companies have a good jerk bait out. They've really gotten this suspending thing down to a science. It's
See if I can get it going. Nope, it's not going to do it. Ooh, there it is.
There it is.
Ryan's jerkbait fish from the day before yesterday.
That was I think it was my second or third cast ever with the new KVD 300 deep diver. So that passed the test for me. Fish ate it. So anyway, someone also asked about the review channel if it was just going to be sponsor products.
No. I'm starting with sponsor products mainly because that's what I've been using, and a lot of them are brand new and people keep asking questions about them. But they understand and know that I'm going to be doing anything and everything from Shimano all the way to whatever rod and reel or whatever tackle we feel like doing.
And we're going to the other thing we're going to try and do is, as far as baits go, just reviewing Senko style baits. There's so many of them out there. We're gonna try. We have a couple ideas that we've been thinking of, but I think we're gonna do kind of like a battle of the baits, a battle of the reels, battle of the rods. The guys over at Swimbait Universe, is that what it's called? The website that Wayne does. I think it's called Swimbait Universe. Anyway, they did a battle of the baits with their swim baits. It was really cool. It's kind of like this big bracket challenge. The whole point is that there's so many bait companies out there that we're just going to try and focus on the main ones. And we're going to, just off the top of my head, have a side-by-side comparison of a Strike King Ocho and a Gary Yamamoto Senko, and have, how they look underwater, the durability, kind of like what Tackle Tour does with a grading system, but we're planning to blow Tackle Tour out of the water. So anyway, it's not just going to be sponsorship things. Of course, that's what's on hand right now, and it is easiest to make. Yeah. But in just a couple weeks here, we're going to have quite a few things coming out with different brands, because we don't want we want this to be a real review channel, not some garbage. This is the companies that support us. So, and Gene, tell them about the freedom that you have on that channel.
Oh yeah, I purposely over the years have kept that channel completely off of any contracts. My sponsors would never ask me to lie about a product anyway, but just so I can do whatever I want to do and they can't say anything on the back end about it. I'm not exclusive on that channel. That's the biggest thing. And when you're in an industry like this and it is your job and you've been doing, hold on a second. Sorry guys, I just realized the light was pretty bad. But when you're doing this kind of thing that I'm doing, you really have to respect your sponsors because they're helping me pay the bills. But in turn, if you keep it off of paper, then they can't say anything about it. So that was the biggest thing. So you're going to get my honest opinion. If something is not right, it's not right. If it really sucks, I usually contact the company first, just because that's what that's what you're supposed to do. Contact the company, tell them their product really sucks, or they're planning on fixing it, and if they don't, then we take care. Then I do a review about it. So.
The bank fishing, somebody says, is going to be called bank rat. I don't know. We've thought of a couple things.
Yeah, you'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Ryan fishes banks, bank rat, stuck in the bank. I don't know. We'll let you guys know.
Yeah, I like bank rat. I like boatless bank trash, but you won't let me do it.
I do like bank rat though. Good suggestion. Sweet. All right, let's see some questions.
Is the rod you designed from 13 Fishing out yet? I'm not sure. I haven't looked. It's the 5'6" heavy action, or 6'5" heavy action. There's my dyslexia again. Let's see. What bait casting reel would you recommend that isn't too expensive? Depends on what too expensive is to you. It always is about your budget. My least expensive one, of course, I'm with 13, so I have to qualify that, is the Inception. It's $120. Lew's makes some pretty decent reels between $75 and $100.
The Shimano.
What is that Shimano reel?
Sitka.
Yeah, Sitka, but I'm not a fan of Shimano just for other reasons. Don't worry about that. The
Bass Pro Shops.
Yeah, Bass
their
Pro
reels
Shops
are great. The Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier.
Remember the old ones?
Dude, they're great reels.
Yep.
The I think it's called the Carbon Light.
The Carbon Light, yeah, the
Something like
Extreme. Remember the Extremes, the green ones?
Yeah, those are good reels.
Yep.
So
those were the first bait casters I ever owned. Were Bass Pro Shops. So
yeah, the Sitka, and then I think it runs 150. Corrado runs about 200. So
yeah. Yeah, best way to catch big bass in cold water. Jerk baits and jigs.
Yep.
Slow. I've got 2 videos on this channel about fishing jerk baits in the cold water and jigs in the cold water. So phenomenal. Have I fished Lake Altoona? Yeah, that's actually the first big lake I ever fished in a boat. About how many years have I been out of the Army? About 15 years ago. So
we call it the Dead Sea.
Yeah, the Dead Sea. I love it though. I love catching spots. It's just that there's not very many big ones on that lake.
The best kayak start out in what's the saying?
The best kayak to start out with. The old saying is a kayak fisherman's favorite kayak is their second one. Me and Chad Hoover have been talking about, and we're going to really try to do a video in the next few months about how to choose your first kayak. And so that always freaking causes me to lose my attention. Anyway, so we're going to take and flip boats over, show you how to pick the right holes, to show you how to pick a boat according to how you want to fish it. So the best kayak it all depends. And so hopefully we can get that video out in the next few weeks or few months. Is side imaging worth having in a kayak? In my opinion, no. I'm going to try it just to make sure, just to see. But in my opinion, I don't think so, because most of side imaging works best at about 3 to 4 miles an hour, and I'd wear myself out trying to do that.
David Cook, as far as New England goes, I'm from Rhode Island. I've been begging Gene for us to take a trip up there, so I'm really hoping that we're going to. I would love to show him some of the really cool lakes up there. So,
Ryan, what was my first bass boat?
Your first bass boat, wasn't it the Triton aluminum?
No.
Well,
my first fishing boat.
Was it the one you sold me?
Yeah, the one I sold you.
Yeah. Okay. So it was. What was I don't even. Was it?
It was a 14-foot Grumman with an 8 horsepower Mercury tiller steer on the back.
Grumman.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I built a deck on it and put a pedestal seat on it and used to fish some pretty strong and heavy waters out on Clark Hill with it. And then I sold it to Ryan. Ryan had sold it to another dummy who left it tied to a bank without the bilge pump on.
He put it on the end of his dock at Lake Lanier.
And it sunk.
I called him up the next summer. I was like, hey, man, I was wondering if I could buy that boat back. And he was like, I would do it, but about a week after you sold it to me, we had all that rain, and I forgot to plug in the bilge pump, and it's actually at the bottom of the lake. So a boat that a lot of great memories on.
Man, yeah.
There's a lot of spotted bass sitting on it now. It's a little bit of cover. Down there. So
why no power poles? Because I haven't got my new boat yet. My new boat will have power poles on it, so we've already figured all that stuff out. Hopefully my boat will be done any day now, and maybe in the next couple 2-3 weeks I'll get it. So it's going to be sweet. Anyway, yeah, and I'm going with another Alumacraft Pro 185. Brian, what's your PB?
We're getting PB questions like crazy. Okay, so mine is 14 pounds 7 ounces from the bank, and my biggest out of a big reservoir, Lake Seminole, 10 pounds 4 ounces in a BFL.
Yep, as a co-angler in the BFL. Mine is 10 pounds 12 ounces out of a kayak. I caught it in Alabama.
Took them forever to do.
Forever, and I had a 9.98 for 9 years.
Yeah.
And you ragged me every single day for that 9 years.
Yep.
Oh man. How did you fish South Louisiana in the dead of winter or heat of summer when bass aren't as active?
Rarely water deeper than 8 feet.
And if I'm correct, South Louisiana has a lot of mushy bottom, doesn't have a whole lot of hard bottom. So
tannic water.
Yeah, things that really fall slow. A Cinco is the only thing that really comes to mind.
Cinco, and then you have two. There's two sides of the spectrum there. You can either entice them to eat, or you can force them to eat. So when they get inactive like that, you either you take a crankbait or lipless crankbait, rip it by them super fast, take a jig, stroke it off the bottom, get a reaction strike. Or on the flip side, fish very slowly with a Senko, like Gene's saying.
Yep.
And eventually, you'll get those bites. So try to, when they're inactive like that, try and bump it off of a piece of cover. It's usually how you can trigger.
That's a good question. Why did they stop making the number 8 blackout rods? Raymond said. It was a surprise to me at ICAST because I was a firm believer in the blackouts. So they explained it to me like this: they need the number 8 rod, or a number 8 tackle company, was a 13 Fishing sister company. It was owned by 13. It was mainly for rods and reels to be sold that were going to be sold in the big box stores. The only problem is for some reason the big box stores couldn't get it into their head that
Explain
number
what the
8
big box store is.
Yeah, big box stores being Walmart, it's Bass Pro, Cabela's, the big ones, Academy, things like that. They couldn't get it for some reason. They couldn't connect number 8 with 13 tackle or 13 fishing, and they loved 13 fishing because it was such a popular product. So instead of trying to fight that battle, 13 basically said, okay, we're going to do away with the number 8 tackle and going to create a whole new company called, or a whole new brand called 1-3, the word 1, the number 3, and produce a bunch of rods and reels. And so it was at ICAST, they showed up, and from concept to ICAST was 52 days that they came up with 3 models of rods and 3 reels. And they're going to be sold under the 1-3 brand. They're going to be in the 13 Fishing website, so it's pretty much the same. And so it just made things a whole lot easier. The Fate Chrome, is it Fate? Yeah. The Fate Chrome under the 1-3 brand is the blackout blank with different reel grips, or different grips, different reel seat, and different guides. So it's basically the blackout rod, same exact price point.
All right, let's see. This way. Mystery tackle box.
Yeah, I've been with Mystery Tackle Box for longer than just about anybody else. So, Gene, this is the Ryan that you met at the Georgia gas station. That's awesome, down south. We're going to go back down to Florida on Sunday to fish with my guy Kennelly at Bienville on Tuesday, Valentine's Day. He's doing a challenge with Chad Hoover of Kayak Bass Fishing. So,
all right.
What's my favorite type of topwater lure? Man, every type.
Yeah, that's a tough question.
It is a topwater frog and a spook if I had to pick 2. But man, that's awesome.
Someone has asked if I fish for shoal bass. I really like fishing rivers. I've caught a couple shoalies, but this year with me getting into kayak bass fishing, hanging out with Chad Hoover and Gene over here, and getting introduced to the boys at Jackson, and starting to understand that kayak fishing is not as awful as I thought it was originally. There's going to be a lot of big shoalies caught this year. I'm really, really excited. I'm thinking about fishing some of those kayak tournaments. So
yep. One guy asked hollow body frog or buzz frog. That was Nick Walker.
Okay.
It just depends on what the bass wants. I find that the thicker the grass, if it's matted, the hollow body frog works best. If you got a little bit of water on top, the buzz frog does. But man, I just throw both and let them figure it out. Let them tell me what they want.
For me, the buzz frog, I just refer to them as horny toes, just because that's the original. That's the one I threw. It's more subtle. It doesn't make nearly as much noise. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of buzz baits first. I get better hookups on the toads as well. So a little tip for the guys that throw the Spro bronzeye frog. Glue up where the hooks come out of the bottom, cut a slice down the back, and that'll make it so that your frog won't take on any more water, because that's going to stay above the surface of the water. And it also makes sure that the bait compresses down as much as it can, and you get a little bit of a better hookup ratio. So
yep. Here's a good question. Bob asked, Gene, what made you start kayak fishing? If I really spent a lot of time getting to know who's watching my videos and my demographic and, you know, age group and how much money you guys make. I really don't know that for, you know, for sure, but just from the comments and stuff. And I really feel like kayak fishing is a great entry-level boat for you guys. Whatever, Boston Bruins. But anyway, good entry-level boat for those who can't afford a motored boat. Motors are expensive. Boats are expensive. And kayaks really are not, if you look at it. And you can go in places like that boats never can go. You're going to see us do some really good trips.
I mean, I fished out of a jet boat for years, and I'm even impressed with where these kayaks can go. So
they just tie a rope to the front of them and drag them around. And so that's why I went to kayaks, so I could show you guys. And I love to fish small boats. I grew up fishing in a canoe. It's nothing new to me. I used to teach the canoeing merit badge every summer at summer camp. So it's one of those things where I just needed to pick something that you guys could afford and pretty much promote kayak fishing, not just one specific thing, one brand or whatever.
Someone just asked about being Pages fan and everything. Yes, I'm from Rhode Island, so just that. Yes, I'm from the Northeast. But this is interesting here. Justin O'Brien said, "Do you feel like your content has changed in the last year due to kayak fishing? Since kayak fishing took over your channel, content has changed drastically."
Well, kayak fishing really hasn't taken over. Is one thing. It's just an addition. The reason it looks like it took over is because I wasn't putting out a lot of content, and the only content I seemed to be putting out was kayak fishing because that's just what I had, and that's what I was traveling with. But you'll see that change.
Cheaper to run.
Cheaper to run, cheaper to haul, everything else. It was just easier to fly down to South Georgia and to Florida in the kayak than it was to drag the boat. But the biggest thing is we're with Ryan's help and with everything that's going on, and now that I'm geared up and ready for this year, you're going to see a lot more boat videos, and I'm going to try to keep it, try to keep it a 50-50 split. Can't promise anything, but you'll see both. So
someone asked, since I'm from Rhode Island, what do the bass eat up there? Bass is a bass, dude. Like, when I go and visit my family, about 95% of my family lives up there. I just bring my tackle bag because it's the same thing. The water tends to be a little bit more clear, so I throw more natural baits. But when I'm up there, I've thrown a lot of horny toads with success. I've thrown a lot of jigs. I've thrown a lot of I throw the spider jig up there a little bit more. And since it's so rocky too, you can kind of get away with the open hook stuff a lot more. So you know it's clear. So move your bait faster. Keep the colors a little more dulled down. But my biggest fish from Rhode Island is 8 pounds and I think it was 7 ounces when I go on a visit there. So there's some big fish up there. So we know guys that throw the one of my buddies up there throws the MS Slammer, I think it's called, that big wake bait. He freaking whacks them, dude. So you know, fish in our instructional videos, fish the way we're talking about because it'll work up there.
What do I think of my son's Tamarack angler kayak? Is that what your kayak is, Jake?
The
green or Jordan, the green one?
It's a lifetime kayak.
Oh, he doesn't have a Tamarack as far as I know.
Oh, you're someone's favorite Flukemaster.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's awesome. Favorite lake in Georgia? I love Oconee.
Same here. Oconee and Lanier, they fish so differently, but
my fishing videos are great about more camera angles to where you're casting rather than casting off camera.
That's what the back camera setup.
Well, that's what. There's always issues with cameras, but yeah, that's what I have the back camera set up for on my boat. The kayak is getting to be a little bit more difficult. I got to figure something out, but so far so good. What size hook do I use for Carolina rigs and Texas rigs? It just depends on the size of the lure that I'm using, but I usually throw on a 4/0 to start with.
3/0 for me.
Yeah.
I use a smaller hook. My theory is that the smaller the hook, the more
the bait's gonna.
The bait has more room to move and move a little more natural. So I try to throw as small a hook as possible. I throw 1/0 a lot, but you know, it's just a little different for everyone. I throw a lot of lighter line. Best pond jig, that's for me right now. And I don't even think they're that great of a jig. I just haven't found a better alternative. If you have one, please let me know because the hooks suck on them. But the Strike King Bitsy Bug with a Zoom Tiny Chunk, I've meleeed the fish on that thing in ponds so much. So if you have a better jig in a 1/8 or less that's decent around grass, please let me know.
Yeah.
So
Flukemaster, what's a good bait to use around this time of year in clear water? If the water temperature is below 52 degrees, I'm going to throw a jerkbait or a jig. If I've got hard bottom, I'm going to throw a jig. But jerkbait's going to be my first choice, and then maybe even a fluke. Well, hey, Sydney Sewell, how are you doing, girl? Grape or strawberry jelly? That girl's a nut. Neither. I am on a diet. I have lost 20 pounds. Actually, not quite 20, but I'm getting there. So,
I'll take grape jelly since I'm not
Shut
on a
up.
diet. So
Strawberry.
the 2K jigs are awesome for all babies of water. I guess he meant bodies of water.
I hope so.
I keep seeing a lot of people asking about my own channel. We said that in the beginning of the video, but I know some of you guys might not have been on here. That's coming up soon. It's going to be exclusively a bank fishing / small water video where I might go out and fish in a kayak or out of a bass raider. We're gonna let you know what the name of the channel is. We have a couple different ideas, but it's gonna
boatless bank trash.
That's what I am, is just bankless white boat trash or bankless trash, whatever you want to call me. But I'll be on the bank. I've caught a lot of big bass from the bank, and I'm hoping that I can help some people out with that. So we fish with any subscribers.
We hope to. We really do.
You have before, didn't you?
I fished with a few subscribers. That's right.
Okay. What's the difference between a shaky head and a regular jig head rig? There is no difference. A shaky head is more about how you work your bait. So you can literally take the skirt off of a football jig and put a worm on there, and it has more to do with throwing the bait out. And a lot of people overwork their shaky heads, in my opinion, but just slowly shaking the slack line and letting it sit. So,
have I ever watched the Puff Puff Bass Fish videos? No, I haven't. Flukemaster, do you think that Fish Lake in the Midwest cause I don't know what that means. Okay.
This is an important right here about the.
If there's a different
cylinder, teardrop, and ball drop shot weights.
Is there a difference in using cylinder, teardrop, or yes. There is.
Go ahead.
With the cylinder ones, I use the cylinder weights mainly around rock. They come out of rock really, really well. You're still going to get them snagged up from time to time, but they do come out of rock well. The teardrop ones I use when I need to get to the bottom fast and keep the weight on the bottom. And then the round ones I never use. I don't even see a use for them. The teardrop and the cylindrical ones are just superior to the round ones.
I don't know why Aquafina. I saw that. I prefer Dasani, but it's just what Gene has here at the house right now. So
it's cheap. And Sam's Club carries them.
The cylinder drop shot weight too also works really well in grass. She did a video a little while ago called "A Different Way to Fish a Drop Shot." Figure out how deep or how high up that grass is coming. Put your bait a couple inches above that, and then you can fish through there a lot easier versus a teardrop. So,
yeah,
yeah, block that stupid.
All right, he's getting on my nerves. All right. There was one I was reading though. What cameras do I use? It depends. Then my inside camera is a Canon 7D, and then I use GoPros mostly on my boat and on the kayak. Here, I like this one. I've read this one a couple times. Bailey, he says, I have a local pond with 5-pounders everywhere, but they are paper thin. They are very unhealthy, not a lot of structure, and very shallow. It's only about 3.5 acres. Any idea how to thicken them up? Yes, take some out. Do not practice catch and release for the next 2 to 3 years. Catch and keep.
Every single fish under 12 inches.
Yep. I'd start with, if they're 5-pounders, then I'd start with fish under 14 inches.
Yeah, just what's going on is that your lake is overpopulated, and so there's too much competition and not enough forage in there. So you're going to have to thin the herd a little bit. We're all about conservation and catch and release, but the thing is, being about conservation means that you can't let fish starve to death, and unfortunately, that's what's going on in your pond. Is they're starving to death. So anyway, just throw them up on the bank. The birds will eat them. If someone wants to eat them, let the neighborhood have a fish fry.
Whatever. It's the biggest thing is that you're stunning their growth, and there's just not enough food. And then after you've taken out a bunch of them, say after a year, maybe a year and a half of keeping everything, then stock some bluegill back into that lake in the fall, and get them to start reproducing again. The catch and release is about the worst thing that has ever happened to small lakes. You've got to keep some, or you just kill your lake.
Favorite shaky head worm is just the Zoom trick worm.
Yeah, mine's going to be the Biospawn plasma tail.
And I've been using that lately. It's pretty good. Gene's definitely got me coming around on it. So,
hey, Jordan, go answer this. Thank you, sir. So let's see. Me and Tackle Junkie 81 versus you two, friendly tournament. We might have to do that, but we're going to have to get Tackle Junkie down here, which I know is impossible. So we may have to meet somewhere.
Creative Cinemas asked me if I'm fishing tournaments.
Not right
now. Yeah, not right now. But basically, the plan is to get back into the BFLs next year as a boater. And then fish the opens and the strands in 2019. We'll see what happens. I'm just trying to create that path for myself and make a way for it to happen. And then if it happens, cool. And if not, then we're just gonna have to see. This kayak bass fishing thing, I've been hearing a lot of people telling me that in a year or two I'm gonna be fishing
kayak tournaments.
Yeah, kayak tournaments, and I'll get addicted to it. So I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get him addicted to kayaks. At this point in time, he still ain't too sure.
Yeah.
Ever fished in Davenport, Florida? Not in Davenport. No. Hi guys, how to find a spawning areas in 50 acres deep lake in Florida.
No shallow water. It must be in a strip pit.
Yeah, it must be in a strip pit.
Bunch of hydrilla though.
Yeah, so it's going to be clear water. The best thing to do is just find the holes in the hydrilla. That's where they will spawn. Where it goes all the way down to the bottom. So.
Thank you.
Keep reading. Bearded Outdoors keeps asking, any difference in all of the 3 to 4 bank onboard battery chargers? You know what? I'm really not sure. I bought it wasn't the Bass Pro Shop brand, the Minn Kota brand is on my last one, and it worked just fine. The other one I had for the longest time was, which one did Mike Bucas sell to me? I can't remember. One of the higher priced ones though. But really the Minn Kota ones are just fine. Just keep them clean, keep them out of the water. It should be good. Why do people seem to hate ugly sticks? Because of the history of ugly sticks. In the past, ugly sticks have been nothing but fiberglass whipping sticks is all they are. You cast behind you and you spank yourself in the butt with the bend on that rod. And so they really haven't been the most sensitive or the strongest rods out there. So
it says,
hold on, let me get rid of this guy real quick. Oh, see ya.
What is the best casting reel for the money? I don't have any real affiliations, so I'm not with 13 like Gina's. To be honest with you, man, up until I started fishing 13, I would have to say the reels that I liked most
was it the Carbon Light?
Were the Bass Pro Shop's Carbon Light when they came out with that. But honestly, dude, since I've been fishing these 13 Inceptions, I freaking love them, dude. They're really great. So right now, it's kind of a mix between those Carbon Light reels and the. I'm getting into these Inceptions. I really like them. So they're for real. I thought Gene was kind of BSing a little bit just because of his affiliation with them. And I caught that 8-pounder 2 days ago, and that reel bombed that fish. I mean, it was good. So they're good reels.
Yeah, Brandon, you asked. I know this is late to ask, but what's my New Year's resolution on fishing? I'm doing it right now. My New Year's resolutions were to restart my review channel and blow it up, and get to the point where I'm doing a video every other day on my main channel. So,
and someone just asked about Abu. I used to be 100% Abu Revos for the first generation.
Yep.
The Revo STX was all I threw. Every setup was Powell rods, Revo STX. Still Powell rods, no longer Revos because the Generation 3s to me are just complete garbage for the money. I feel like I'm paying twice as much for half the reel. If I buy an STX, I feel like I'm paying for an S. If I buy an S, it feels like I'm buying a Black Max from Walmart. So.
yeah. How are we catching so many big fish? First thing is we make sure we go to lakes with big fish. I moved up here to Rome, Georgia in the spring, or actually in the summer, mainly to be close to my wife's family, but also to be an hour and a half from Lake Chickamauga, an hour and a half from Gunnersville. And so I can be around places where I can go catch good fish, good quality fish. Then we travel down to Bienville and we do the private deals and everything else. I don't get near as excited about the fish I catch in private lakes unless they're double digits that I do up in the bigger lakes. So
Someone just asked best bait for Clarks Hill this time of year.
best bait for Clarks Hill this time of the year is going to be a brown jig or a creeper with a green pumpkin speed crawl on it. Gene, which kayak do you like better and why? Your Cuda HD or the Big Rig? The Big Rig. The Cuda HD is excellent if you're going to go on long trips. It's a faster boat, not quite as stable in the primary stability, but the secondary stability on the Cuda is excellent. You can stand on one foot and it doesn't flip over, but it's just a little bit more wobbly than what I like. So the Big Rig, because it's 38 inches wide and it's fast enough for me, it really is a fun boat to stand up in and do all the other stuff. I'm looking forward to trying out the new Mayfly, which is 35 or 36 inches wide, and it's got it's got an open deck in front of me, so I can move around a little bit more.
Best crankbait brands just saw. It's to me it's between Rapala and Strike King, and then also the Damiki series, those egg-shaped crankbaits they sell. That's like a little niche crankbait in there, but the DT series to me is phenomenal, and then also the Strike King XD series. The 3XD is tough to beat.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I'm a fan of Strike King mainly because several years ago I decided I want to really get good at crankbaits, and I didn't want to have a guessing game every time I pulled a crankbait out of the box. So with Strike King, I've learned what depth each bait runs and how they run and things like that. So. Mentally, it's a lot better for me. I have a lot more confidence in them, so that's why I'm fishing almost all Strike Kings right now.
There's been a guy that said multiple times, "Is 50-degree water too cold for a red lipless crankbait?" That is
that is the ideal water temperature.
Yeah, you from the coldest wintertime all the way up to really the spawn. I don't throw, and I think Gene's on the same page with this. We don't throw anything but red. Yeah, anything crawl colored is all we throw. So when it's cold, definitely throw red and Little Debbie over Oreos any day.
Little Debbie over Oreos?
Yeah, I mean Oreos are good, but Little Debbie.
Y'all need to stop. I'm on a diet. As you can tell, I'm starting to get a little bit skinny in the cheeks. But best bait for the spawn. Gosh. So many different things. I like bluegill imitating patterns, and then I'll switch up to a crawfish and back and forth between the two. Biggest thing is I keep it small so the bass can get the whole thing in its mouth and not just grab the tail.
For me, it's white just so I can see it. That's it. I don't zoom ultra vibe speed crawl. White.
Yeah. Best hooks for 50-pound braid. I guess it just depends on what you're fishing, but
make sure
they're pretty stout hooks because you'll bend out the thin wire.
The heavy cover.
Yep. Ever make my own baits? I used to tie my own jigs. Ryan used to pour plastics.
Yeah, I had a plastic company for a while.
Yeah, and used to sell them online, but that was many, many, many years ago.
Yeah. Cold. Taking some clients out, Oregon. You're taking some beginners out in Oregon tomorrow in cold water. Any suggestions?
Jerkbait and jig.
Suspending jerkbait and jig.
On points.
Over and over.
Yep, on hard points. Leading back into the creek channels at this time of the year. So.
Is the Livingston lures technology better than Rattles? I've fished a lot of Livingston stuff, man. I don't see any difference whatsoever.
No. It's a reaction bait, you know.
This guy Michael has asked this question 100 times.
Drains, ditches.
Hey Michael, we want to answer this question, but dude, it's such a deep question and it's such a complicated thing. I'd like to do a video and put it up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna write this down and we're gonna make a video on it, and we'll get that answer
we'll get
for
that
you
answer
in a
to you.
really detailed
That's a full
way.
video.
Yeah, so that's a 20, 30, at a minimum a 20, 30-minute conversation. So
take a tow trip to Indiana. I need to remember to go back to doing my tow trips. Those were a lot of fun.
you can throw shaky.
We travel. We just don't call them tow trips.
You can throw shaky head on anything you want to. You can throw it straight, fluorocarbon, monofilament, braid. Personally, I like braid to fluorocarbon or just fluorocarbon, depending on what the water conditions are. So anyway.
What's so good about Garmin fish finders? You know, I'm really not totally sure yet. I have used a few of them, and that's why I'm getting them. I was impressed enough to have them put in my next boat. Their clarity is better, and I love their mapping program where you basically just zigzag. And I know other brands do this, but you zigzag over top of the area, and it makes a map for you. And I'm an offshore structure fisherman, so that's really, really critical for me. So I'm going to try them this year and see what happens, and I'm going to do a lot of instructional videos from them.
Best creature bait for me, I like the old Kanami Nori's bug. I think they make it now under a different name, but I have a bunch of bags of the old Nori's bugs, so I don't know what they are, but that to me is the best creature bait. What do you like for creature baits? Brush hog's really good too.
Oh, creature baits, yeah. Mainly it's going to be a brush hog, a baby brush hog, and what's that one? The Berkeley crazy leg chigger craw or whatever.
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
the crazy leg chigger craw's a good bait.
Microguide. What's the difference between microguide casting and regular? And is it worth to buy with this feature? I like the ones that are in between the really small micro guides and the bigger, the biggest guides. I think they're called macro guides or something like that. They're not super small, but they're not really big. Is my favorite. So, where's
the beavers are good too, man. It really comes down to what you want to. I mean,
what I want to throw and what the fish want me to throw.
I mean, I've used them as jig trailers, but I've had my best success Texas rigging them, and I don't like how small of a hook I have to use with the beaver, because once you rig it up, even on like a 2-watt hook, there's no extra room for that body to have any natural fall. So anyway, that's the only reason why I don't use them. But a lot of people.
Some guy asked, "Have you ever fished in Louds County?" No, but I used to go shake pecan trees down there all the time when I was in high school. Thanksgiving break, I'd go down and shake pecan trees for the sheriff of Louds County way back in the day.
That sounds so fun.
He is probably not the sheriff anymore, but he's a great guy.
This is a good question right here. What is the one thing you always need when fishing that you can't leave home without? For me, it is JJ's Magic.
Oh, really?
Just because it's one of those things where in my opinion, it can change the day.
Yep.
It's one of those things that can be a complete game changer. And I also never leave without line conditioner either.
Yep.
So
the one thing that I told myself this year I would never go fishing without again is a Ned rig. Absolutely has saved a ton of fishing trips for me this year. So have I ever fished North Carolina? We used to guide at Richmond Mill Lake in Laurenburg or Laurel Hill, North Carolina. So do I use
the peg or bobber stop when you text her creature bait? I don't use a peg or bobber stop because I use the screw-in tungsten weights. I got that technique on media day when fishing with Dean Rojas over at Lay Lake, I think it was Lay Lake back in 2008. He had a baby brush hog with an 1/8 ounce tungsten screw-in weight, and ever since then that has been an absolute staple of mine. Is just the way he fished it, and it was incredible watching him go to work like that.
If I can fish without one and get away with it, I will, but usually I have one on there. Adam S. asked, Gene, I was checking out the 2017 Illumicraft. I'm not digging the front live well. It's worse than last year's model. What's up with that? I'll be honest with you. I don't dig it either. I'm actually they're building mine right now, and they're taking the front live well out and making it a hatch so I can store stuff in it. So my biggest suggestion would be, if you want a bass boat like that, is to get it built. Buy it through a dealer, have them build it, and to have them to leave that front live well out.
This is a cool question. Gene, did you ever see anything nasty as an X-ray tech? I know of a great story of Gene's.
Okay, I was an X-ray tech for 19 years. 8 of them, 6 of them were in the military. 13 of them were in a trauma center, and I worked weekend nights. So what's the one you know of?
The one I know of is when the guy, if I understand this correctly, the blowback out of like where he like spray painted the wall basically.
Oh, that was a barium enema.
Oh,
We were doing a barium enema on this old guy, and the poor. I always positioned myself one step behind and to the side of the radiologist, and so they have what's called barium blowouts.
That's
and
what
they
it was,
can't
the
control
barium
themselves, and you move the doctor moves their leg, and all the barium comes shooting out of the patient. And so the reason I position myself one step behind and to the side of the doctor is so I can take one step to the left and get behind him and use him as a shield. And so I always use the doctor as shields when we had
would
those
you say
issues.
that's the grossest?
No, it's not the
Oh,
grossest.
you had the trachea.
I've held somebody's leg while they were 5 feet away over on the table. I've done so. There's tons of things. I mean, like I said, I've seen a lot of the worst things around. So
someone asked about JJ's Magic and how they could get it.
Best place to get it is Tackle Warehouse. If you want it carried in one of your local tackle shops, they can get it from Pittman Creek Outfitters, which is a wholesaler.
Dakota Ball, what is this stupid style tube rig? Because I throw tubes a lot on the rivers around here, and I would like to know what that is. And I'm seeing worst fishing industry and stupidest thing while bass fishing. That's clickbait stuff, man. We don't even go into that stuff. So
Yep. Yeah, we don't mess around with it.
yeah.
Is deeper worth the money? Actually, I'll tell you. Grab that yellow thing right there in that cup. If it'll come out of that cup. It's a flexible cup, so it should be able to come out. That's what I use right there. The Vexilar sonar phone. $100. It's worth every single dime and then some. So no plug, no sponsorship. They've never paid me for anything, but this is what I keep when I'm fishing in my kayak and I don't have a fish finder. So
is anybody gonna say what this? I thought you'd already blocked that kid.
no.
He's obviously a kid. So
Sorry guys, didn't mean to cut on camera.
can anybody say the Chattahoochee River is a phenomenal fishery? What is this stupid tube or this stupid tube rig thing you guys are talking about?
I got no clue. Never heard of it. How many colors of sunglasses do I recommend? 2. Recommend one that's gray. And when you look through it, it's gray. I don't care what color reflective crap's on the front. But gray and amber are the 2 minimums that I would use. I actually have one that's got a little bit of green to it, and then an amber and a gray. So
The yellows, this Hobie Pro Angler, no, it's Jackson, not Hobie.
my Hobie's still in the barn, but no, I don't. That was part of a contract that I had with them over a year ago for 7 videos, and that contract went out. So
All right, I'm looking up this stupid tube rig, so let's see if you guys are trolling me or not.
yeah. I'm going to Gunnersville in a couple of days. What should I throw? A square bill and a lipless crankbait in the grass.
Also, we had heard too, if for some of the pre-spawn fish that are still hanging out a little bit deeper, take a 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce jig head and throw that onto a big 5 or 6 inch paddle tail swim bait.
So, is that Aerolex on the wall? Have some in my recording studio. Yeah, it's the cheap stuff from Amazon though.
Oh, there is a stupid style.
Yeah,
Tubes.
he's looking at it. So, evidently they're not doing a very good job of marketing.
How to rig a stupid tube.
The Indiana Special. We're gonna look.
Yeah, you keep answering stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look this
Best
up.
gear ratio for cranking setup. For deep cranking, 5:3 to 1 or 6:3 or 6 something, 6:3, 6:8, whatever they have. But for everything else, medium cranks all the way up to shallow divers, I'm gonna use a 6:8 or 6 to 1 or a 7:3 to 1. So let's see.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to give the stupid tube a try. I like it. It just showed the backwards rigging and the regular rigging, so I'll definitely give that a try when I'm fishing some of the rivers around here.
Yep. What's a good bait for a bad day of fishing? Oh,
The favorite braid to lead. FG.
Favorite braid to lead or knot is called the FG knot. Just go to my channel and click the little hourglass or little magnifying glass and search for FG.
Matthew Spranger. Really, the only mega bass that I buy into are the Visions, the ITOs.
Hey, Lady Bass is on. Hey, girl. What you guys ought to go subscribe to her. Anyway, what's your deep diving crank rod? Is it glass? It's not glass. I use a carbon one. The new 1.3 ones. The Fate Chrome 1.3 ones are really good. I am super excited about being able to fish with them this year. I only have one right now, but I just ordered the other two. Their last ones were not very good crankbait rods. They were too stiff.
The best length on a crankbait rod is the longest one you can get. I got a buddy that has an 8-foot custom-made cranking rod, and he can throw Little John DDs a friggin' mile, dude. So if you can get an 8-footer, awesome. 7-11, great.
And that's for open water cranking. If you're throwing like a square bill around and a lipless crankbait around cover, get a little bit shorter rod. 7-foot moderate action rod. So,
does anybody want any advice, I guess, kind of like pertaining to this time of year? We're right in that, I call it the weird, there's two weird times of the year. There's post spawn when the females just kind of ghost on you, and then this time of year too when they're transitioning from those deep winter holes and getting really shallow. So is there anybody that wants any advice on some stuff like that?
So Sean Leonard asked, Gene, I noticed you used the 1.3 3000 spinning reel. Why that bass?
He's wondering why you use a 3000
over a 2000. Mainly because it's the 1.3 Creed GT and it's light. I hate bigger reels, or I've hated up to this point bigger reels because they're so heavy in the hand. But with as light as the new GT is, I don't mind using the 3000 and 4000. You get a bigger spool, so you get less line twist and further casts due to less friction. Go check out my new review that I just did over on my review channel. All of you do that haven't seen this yet. I just launched my very first video in over a year on my review channel. It's a review of the 1.3 Creed GT. I'm also giving that reel away next Friday. What's this one?
All right, so I'm seeing that you guys are saying the lift and fall and dragging the jig or the tube rather than jigging it. So I've seen that. We'll make a video. I'm gonna definitely go and try that. We'll make a video on it.
When I used to fish Clark Hill, where was your favorite place to fish this time of year, and what baits? Oh man, I never knew where I was fishing. At that lake, you had to find fish every stinking day, and sometimes multiple times a day. I love to fish the upper end between Horseshoe Island and the bridge is usually where I concentrated this time of the year, just because I knew it a little bit better.
Do spawning bass go in beds after being caught?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of the time they do.
I'm seeing a lot of questions about people asking about like a super cold water fish. Look, when the water's in the 30s, guys, it's almost impossible to get a bite. Really, your two options are, like we've been saying this whole time for our favorite baits, suspending jerkbait and a jig, but you gotta move them so slow.
Yeah.
A half a minute to a minute between movement on either the jig or the suspending jerkbait. Also take into consideration that at 30-something degrees, the bait is not going to suspend like it would at 40 and 50. So you got to make sure that when jerk it down a couple times, see where it's at, and see how if it's sinking, because I think that it would have trouble suspending at 35 to 38 degree water.
All right, Brendan's Fabulous World of Fishing. Boy, where have you been? Goodness gracious. I know school's in the way of producing videos, but I love your edits, man. You do a great job. He says, what's the most underrated bait that I use? Underrated bait that I use. An inline spinner.
Yeah.
I use it a lot to catch fish. So that's probably my most underrated one.
Jason Pittman, very good advice. Get a backlash, pick it out, and then move your bait. Yeah, that's about it.
So I have this rule when I'm fishing with somebody else: if they get a backlash that they can't get out, and I get it out, and there's a fish on the other end, they owe me $20.
Ben Coates, neighborhood ponds this time of year with the water temperature in the 40s and 50s. Neighborhood ponds are pretty much shallow the whole year, so they're in shallow water. Just keep on moving until you get bit, and a lot of times they'll be grouped up. A lot of times too, if you get bit, there's a reason they're sitting there, and they'll be sitting there in numbers. So when you do find one, make sure to kind of soak that area real well.
Yeah, we're gonna go for 6 more minutes, guys. That'll make it a full hour. So Rod length for jerk baits, I like a short one because I jerk down towards the water.
6'8".
Yeah, 6'8" is probably the best for me.
Good bait to teach someone how to bass fish is a Senko, no doubt.
Yeah, Senko or a Texas rig worm, something like that. Flukemaster, what is my favorite blind bed fishing technique? Oh my gosh. It's going to be, believe it or not, swimming, either a creature bait with a lot of kick, a lot of flap, like a rage craw or a rage, anything rage because they've got a lot of flap to them, or a lizard. I put a really light 16th or 8th ounce weight on the front, Texas rig it, and I throw it out across the bedding area and I slowly reel it back. And that's how I catch a bunch of them. You can't pick and choose what you catch, but you'll catch a bunch of them.
Best baits for small ponds this time of year. The Booyah Pond Magic spinner baits. Throwing a light jig like the Strike King Bitsy Bug. And again, I'm not a big fan of the hook on that jig. And if someone wants to suggest a better jig in that lightweight, but I'll throw the 16th or the 8th ounce and put a Zoom tiny chunk on there. Those are my two for this time of year. And then a shallow diving crankbait. So like a Bandit 100 or a DT 4, I think they make. So
Adam, I hope I get to go to Idaho. That's something I haven't really talked to Chad about. So it might happen. How do I feel about fishing new water without sonar? Boy, that's become a tool that I've almost started to rely on too much. And so the biggest thing is I try to always, because we now have like cheap ones, $100 ones like the sonar phone that I try to always have with me. It's tough. It's tough for me to go without it. So
good question. Southern Life Fishing said if a lake is fished hard and the fish are released at the ramp, wouldn't the fish be concentrated there? A lot of times at boat ramps, you're going to see riprap. There's usually going to be a bridge with some riprap. Pull out from the boat ramp a little bit, and then what you want to do is fish those areas pretty thoroughly, because we call them retreads. A lot of times they'll have holes in their mouth.
yeah, you grab them and lip them, and your thumb goes through their hole.
But I've had tournaments where I've literally seen tournaments where I was fishing a tournament on Lake Eufaula one time where a guy, one of the sticks that he actually fished the FLW tour, I think is Kim Carver. He blew his motor right there at the launch. He just put down his trolling motor, and I think he ended up coming in 5th or 6th place. And he was fishing the riprap, and right in that first pocket there were lily pads. He flipped there all day, and he ended up bringing in a good bag of fish.
That's what I used to do on Oconee when I was fishing that old 14-foot John boat with an 8-horse tiller against people with glitter rockets. They had these big old bass boats. I even had a couple FLW guys that were fishing that little pot tournament with me, and I always finished between 5th and 2nd. I never won one out of that boat. I didn't win one until I was in another buddy's boat. But yeah, that was a blast.
Southern, I saw you just post that question again. Just comment and let us know if you got that answer. But
Yeah,
the answer is yes. They're going to be. Yeah, we
answered it.
Yeah, fish around those boat ramps because they release fish there. Just find any of the structure or cover that's around there, and they'll be on it.
Best early spring baits. For us, early spring is really late winter. Go watch the video we just launched a little while ago about the 5 best winter baits, and those would be the ones we use in early spring.
And I just saw the tip about the stupid tube, so I really appreciate it, guys. We're gonna give that a try.
Yeah. The colors of lures. This is what color do I use for jerk baits in the winter. It all depends on the water clarity for every bait. So. Lady Bass, yep, I'll be doing this more now that they have the YouTube live on mobile, so you'll be seeing a couple a week. 1436 aluminum craft with a 1964 Emerald Sport.
This guy Matt's asked this a lot. I got a bag of Lunker Hunt grubs out of a mystery tackle box, and they are clear. I have no clue what to do with them because they are clear. Any advice to jig and stuff to pair with them and color-wise? Lunker Hunt grubs.
Jake, do you remember those clear ones? What did they say?
You want to, huh?
What they look like? What was the shape of them?
The Lunker Hunt grubs, they were grubs.
They were grubs.
Like a Fat Albert or something. Just like
you'd be surprised. They're going to be for super clear water, but you'd be surprised what a bass can see. I used to fish back. Zoom used to make a clear fluke, And when the fish were schooling and I didn't want them to get a good look at them, I literally would take a red Sharpie. This was before I found JJ's Magic. And Jake, don't get behind here. And dip the Sharpie or stab the Sharpie into the fluke, and that was it, just one dot. And jerk, and I would catch a lot of fish on them. So you'd be amazed what they could see.
And Bearded Fisherman had just said to get a pack of Sharpies for those clear, just like you just said. So the best color in very dark water is going to be just anything. I throw black,
black or bright,
black or red bug.
And then bright.
So
the clear grub thing, I'd fish it with a like relatively clear water, like stained water on a really light spinnerbait. I'd fish it as the trailer.
Yeah, trailer. That's a good idea.
So Gene's son is saying to stick that lunker hunt grub on the back of a spinnerbait, and so
a light spinnerbait.
All right, last question. Why is tungsten better than lead? Oh, that's a good question.
It's an easy question too.
Yeah. Tungsten, first of all, it is smaller because it's denser, and so you can
typically 50% the size of lead.
Yeah, and so it's also because it is denser, it's more more sensitive. You throw it out, you drag it on the bottom, it returns a signal on what's on the bottom so much better than lead. You know what you're pulling it through. You know when you come up to a stick that you can just sit there and shake it. It's just so much better. Hey Jordan, I see you 100 times. That's Jordan Jensen is my son. So
also real quick too, I know we said last question for me. Someone is asking, he's asked this a lot this whole time we've been on here. He's been on here for a while, so he deserves to have his question answered. You said you're fishing Gunnersville, and you wanted to know it's something about best rattle trap to throw. There isn't a best rattle trap, man. As far as lipless crankbaits go, we like the Tungsten one knockers, and then Strike King now has one called the 2-tap.
Yep.
Yozuri has one with a tungsten plate on the front. Or no, I think it's River to Sea that has a tungsten plate on the front.
I think so.
Basically, just the reason that I like tungsten inside of a lipless crankbait, I've been putting tungsten BBs inside of lipless crankbaits before they even came out with those. I would drill holes in the side of a rattle trap, empty the BBs out, put tungsten beads in there. It just has a different sound underwater. It's a little bit deeper. So when you get a lot of guys out there throwing lipless crankbaits that have that high-pitched sound of the steel or whatever's in there, the tungsten has a little bit deeper of a pitch. It sounds different. And I've gone down banks where guys were throwing a lipless crankbait, and I have no problem going on the same bank, same area, throwing one with tungsten because it sounds completely different. And I've seen fish where a guy maybe caught a fish or 2 or 3. I'll go down the same bank and catch 5 or 6 right behind them because the bait sounds different. The fish aren't shying away from it. So anyway,
that new 2-tap is
the 2-tap.
I've caught a lot of fish on it since I picked one up a few weeks ago. And so, and then this time of year, color is going to be, I'm going to start with a red and then may switch to a shad color, but I'm not going to go crazy. It's going to be either red or shad. So
thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. We're going to be doing this a lot more. I would love to do this 3-4 times a week. It'd be a lot of fun.
You're going to be seeing his ugly mug quite a bit. So he's helping me out a lot, helping me stay caught up, stay motivated on the days I don't want to get up, and the days he doesn't want to get up, I get his tail up out of the bed. It's kind of like a workout partner.
And
you will go to a gym more often if you've got somebody to meet there and be responsible to. So
I can talk fishing 24/7.
Yep.
So the deal is this: when I have my own channel, I know that Flukemaster is the show here, and I get that. But when I have my own channel, I'm gonna be doing this. I would love to do this every single night if I could.
Yeah.
So we'll be, when we get that up and running, we're going to do some videos letting you know it's there. Subscribe over there, and then I can do live whenever I want to because I don't have to have Gene's permission.
Yep.
So we can talk all the time.
So before you guys get off, be sure to go check out my Flukemaster review channel. Like I said, I'm going to be giving away just about every rod and reel that I do a review on, and I just put my first review up for the Creed GT from 1.3. Check out, we'll let you know when Ryan's channel's up and running. Be sure that, they've got the subscribe button, but right next to the subscribe button is a little bell, and if you click that, you're, holy cow, what just came down the stairs? Anyway, if you click on the bell, then you get alerts on your cell phone for when we launch videos.
Zach,
So-
John, I got the same sickness, man. I can't stop thinking about fishing. I can't stop talking about it. It's all the time. So at least you'll be there when I do my live videos all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks, Joseph Knapp. I appreciate it. Well, like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to our channels so we can teach them, help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go and catch some fish, and go watch D Almighty's new video. He just uploaded it. Thanks, Reaper.
See you
Take it
guys.
easy, y'all.